All right, Sam Jane from the Baltimore Sun joins us. We're talking Ravens, we're talking Terps. It's a little bit of a doom and gloom Saturday in Terpville where you were. Of course, Maryland now two straight fourth quarter leads blown. Malik Washington almost led that comeback drive, but the fourth down throw a little off the mark. Tell us a little bit about what you were hearing from Mike Locksley after the game. Now two in a row where they kind of had it in command in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the weather tonight kind of felt like it resembled the football scene in Maryland right now, not only for the Terps but for the Ravens. And I think that this week was another kind of reminder and another just tough loss for this program. There's not really any other way to put it. After a week in which you mentioned, a lot of momentum on your side, lose to Washington, to then follow it up with kind of the same formula that we've seen in plenty of Mike Locksley's losses in the past. The Terps committed 100 penalty yards, three unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That was a big focus in the press conference. Locksley talked about, it's something that they got to get cleaned up. It's something he said now, though, for 7 years, year after year when these games kind of happen, it's the same messaging. We just have to get it cleaned up. He talks a lot about being a parent and, trying to watch over his kids, aka his players. Um, and it keeps popping up, which makes you have to think that at some point it doesn't just fall on individual players. This is a program-wide issue. When 5 of the 7 years that he's been here, Maryland's finished in the bottom three of the Big Ten in penalties committed. So that was one of the main messaging. Malik Washington said the team's going to have a players meeting potentially on Monday, which that's never necessarily a great sign really this early in the season, but he obviously played pretty well, and I still am impressed with his leadership and where he is as a freshman right now. So another really dispiriting loss in College Park for the Maryland football program.
Yeah, to say the least. Malik Washington did on the right side. At least he looks good, right?
Yeah.
At certain times, he looks good. But for a freshman, I mean, you can't really expect a freshman to have a
No.
crazy game-winning drive like that. He did make a couple of throws that were just fantastic. Just that last one was just a bit off the mark. But let's shift focus now from what you said, the doom and gloom on this rainy day, to from College Park to what we have in store on Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium. And the Ravens, they are kind of desperate for a win, I'd say. 1-4. You're looking at a Rams team with a passing attack and Puka Nacua, who's slated to, if he stays healthy, break records this season at wide receiver. And with what we've seen so far this year in the secondary, that hasn't exactly translated well with opposing talent like a guy like Puka Nacua. What do you expect out of this Ravens defense that looked, frankly, like Swiss cheese against the
Yeah.
Texans last weekend?
Yeah. I think if you were comparing them to Swiss cheese at this point, the holes just keep growing on the cheese. They've allowed now the most points, passing yards, and rushing yards through 5 weeks in franchise history. And you mentioned it with Puka, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, Matthew Stafford, a good offensive line, Sean McVay. It's going to be tough to mend the issues that we've seen here over these past couple weeks. Obviously, I think bringing in some reinforcements this week, Gilman, Gardner Johnson, who I expect to play. I think those could potentially help on the back end, but this is a Rams offense that is one of the best passing units in the NFL. And, save for it just absolutely downpouring in Baltimore Sunday, I kind of expect them to have a field day on the Ravens defense. So it's going to fall on maybe Cooper Rush in the offense's hand, which you feel a lot less confident saying that with Cooper Rush than you do with Lamar Jackson. So that's kind of where we're at, I think, with the Ravens matchup on Sunday.
And Cooper Rush, I mean, he looked very solid in the first drive against the Texans. I think he was 5 for 5. They couldn't get a touchdown, but they settled for three. It was a nice drive, and then the rest of the game it kind of fizzled out from there. He threw a few interceptions. But how can you balance what he has to bring to the table with an offensive line that is struggling mightily this season, and then of course with Derrick Henry, who's yet to find holes that might be a product of a bunch of things, offensive line, Pat Ricard not being there, but since the first game, he has yet to eclipse 51 yards. He had a 50-yard game, but everything less than 50 after that. How can you balance that on offense and come out with a winning formula?
Yeah, I think specifically tomorrow, you're really going to have to rely on Henry in those early down situations. They need to get to third and manageable, third and short. That's something that they've talked about, on defense as teams are just getting to third and two, third and three. It felt like the Ravens offense has kind of been the opposite of that. A lot of third and longs. And with the leaky offensive line that you talked about, the backup quarterback in the game, they need to be in manageable situations, and that starts with Derrick Henry. They have to get back on track running the football. I think there was a commitment to it, but the score got away from them in that Texans game last week. So it's like when you're down 20 points, you can't really commit to running the football. I think they're going to do that this week. The weather, it could be raining. That should call for more Derrick Henry. So if you have King Henry on your fantasy teams, I think this could be a week that he maybe has that breakout game that we've been anticipating ever since that season opener in Buffalo. So I'd expect them to really use Henry, and just kind of ride him on those early downs. And then when you get to third and manageable, Cooper Rush is more than capable of moving an offense down the field. He just has to be put in, easier and better situations than what you would use, Lamar Jackson is kind of your Superman to save you in those spots. So that's kind of the offensive recipe I see as a path to success on Sunday.
All right, and time will tell. I mean, it's still is Ravens big underdogs, going to be a challenging game, but appreciate the insight, Sam. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe there'll be a not Tylan Wallace, but Rams, rain, punt return touchdown. You never know.
LeJohntay Wester?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? All right, man. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on, chatting Ravens and Terps with us.
Thanks, AJ.
See you, man.